again, it's Carter Fong here from City Hall. We are recording episode 2 of the Square Deal podcast. I am with Xander Beeson. He is the seasonal events assistant here at the city. I believe he's a DSU student and a football player. We're going to get to know him real well today, and then he gets a chance to know me as well because we will be working together all summer long.
Can't wait.
And I think what's going to make this episode fun is the reality that you and I met in person 5 minutes ago for the first time. We were in on one virtual meeting together. So this is a get to know you conversation. I really look forward to it. But I got to say right off the bat, I hope maybe you need to be a little nervous because I'm going to ask some quick true false questions to you. Right. Your job may be on the line here if you don't know the correct answer. So let's give it a go with the fun.
Before we start, I do want to throw this out. I was kind of thinking about it the other day. I think we have actually met before. I think during the youth basketball tournament, I was working the clock for one of the games you were coaching.
Okay.
Because I looked you up on Facebook after they told me who the new director would be. And I was like, I have seen this guy before.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, and you asked me a question about the clock, and I was...
Sure. Did my third grade boys score any points?
I don't think so, no. I think that was the game where there was... I think we had 31 jump balls.
31 jump balls.
And 11 total points.
That sounds about right. Well, I mean, we live in a small community, so the reality is we probably have crossed paths somewhere along the line. I'm old. I needed the reminder there. And on that note, true false. Question number 1.
Here we go.
I, Carter Fong, am cool, young, and hip.
I'll say true. From I think the virtual meeting, the coolest thing was that you were in the driver's seat of a bus. You were taking 5th graders on a field trip to, I believe, Richardton.
That's right.
To a senior citizen's home, and you joined the virtual meeting from your phone with your AirPods in. I'm not too experienced in the virtual meeting sense, but for something to come across my plate like that, I think that was pretty cool.
Thank you for saying that. That's not your conventional definition of cool.
What I find cool is super relative to different people.
Sure.
I find things cool that other people may not find cool. And that's the beauty of it.
And we're going to get to know lots of people from this podcast studio. I would say false. I know that whatever I am not cool. I am not young. I'm 41 years old. And I am not hip. I am like... your Mr. Belding or your Mr. Rogers of the community. Now, do those references even make sense to you? No, you don't know what... Okay, well, we've got work to do there. But Saved by the Bell, you got to look it up. Okay, we're going to find out whether you are Zach Morris, Screech Powers, or AC Slater. Okay. But you don't know those references either. My goodness. Wow, we got work to do.
It's okay. I probably got some niche TikTok references that I have a couple questions about them that I could throw at you.
I was not hired to be cool, young, and hip. I was hired for other reasons. True or false? I, Carter Fong, alone get to pick next summer's 2026 Live at Legacy Square concert series.
False. I think I got some in there that I would like to pick. It's like dream scenario, but obviously we can't. But also, I'll say true. I think you get a say.
I think
it's true to an extent.
I think it's my job to bring the right people into the room to help build that series. Yeah. And I am looking for cool, young, and hip people. Do you know anybody?
I got a couple in mind. You kind of have to play into every year. You kind of see how big we can get this year. Obviously, the lineup's been announced. Yeah. Fewer concerts, bigger names. The Scotty McCreery is kind of a bigger one. He won American Idol a few years back. Eli Young Band was pretty big last year, so you kind of see the trend. Sure. It's getting bigger. I'm into the country music. I do listen to some smaller country artists, so it's one of those things where those could be pretty realistic. Yeah. So like the Morgan Wallens, Luke Combs that I listen to. Could happen. Not the most realistic, though, so I have some people in mind that I could throw out there, but who knows?
On that note... True or false, in 2026, you and I together have already lined up Taylor Swift, Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, and Beyonce. They're all coming. True or false?
True.
True, I wish.
In the first 5 minutes we met, that's what we did.
It's false.
False,
The local Dickinson resident, the taxpayer, needs to determine, and communicate to your city commissioners, your city leadership, what level of support you want to provide for entertainment in downtown Dickinson. True or false, you, Xander Beeson, are cool, young, and hip yourself?
I think I'm pretty cool. I don't feel very young. Like, I'm 22.
Sure.
But I'm coming off tearing everything in my left knee, ACL, MCL, meniscus, LCL. I feel like that alone put about 10 years on my life, so that puts me at about 32.
Yeah.
I'm young. It's one of those things. To some people, I'm young, but on the football team, I think I'm one of the older guys on there, going into my 5th year. There's not too many guys that are still playing it. The guys that I came in with when we were all 18, most of them are gone. I think there's about 7 of us left.
Yeah.
Out of the 40 I signed with.
Yeah.
So,
it's a good reality check.
In the bigger picture, I'm pretty young.
You are relatively
for
cool,
city
young, and hip when you're sitting next to me.
Yeah, City Hall, I'm pretty young. I don't think there's too many people around my age that work here, but like at football, I'm closer in age to some of the coaches than some of the players.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to get to know you well real soon. I've got a few more questions for you.
Yep.
Then you get to flip it around and ask me some questions.
Wait.
I want to make sure we take a minute so that I can make sure our audience knows what we're trying to accomplish here. I think at City Hall, the message, number one, as I'm coming on board, is we listen. And our little play on cool, young, and hip was meant to be a fun response to a light jab that was out on social media. Somebody anonymously and sarcastically wrote, "Oh, great, Carter was hired. He's real cool, young, and hip." Dripping in sarcasm, okay?
I think it's funny.
I can handle it. I'm in on the joke. I liked it. I laughed. It was not nasty. But, if you see commentary, you need to take what's positive in it. It's that people care. People care about the history and the present of downtown entertainment in Dickinson. Whether you know it or not, there's more than a 10-year run now of groups of people, individuals, volunteers who first put together the Live at 5 concert series, which became First on First. It's now live at Legacy Square. I think one thing I need to make sure I do coming on board is to say thank you to the people who brought live music to downtown Dickinson. I was mostly absent from that downtown concert series in the 20 teens, and I would say 3 main reasons why would be my 3 young children, our 3 young children. Sydney's 11, Parker's 9, Peyton's 5. We had infant children in the house as that downtown music series was launched. Okay, they're a little older now. Of course, I'm going to be there each and every one of the dates that we have this summer, and I'm going to partake after hours and maybe have a beverage somewhere after the work is done. But thank you to those who brought live music to downtown Dickinson, and the series has evolved, and it's now live at Legacy Square. We are human. The people who work for the city of Dickinson, our elected leaders, are human beings. They have strengths and weaknesses, and they have families and loved ones. I am maybe a little naive, but I tend to believe if we get to know them a little better, people will treat them better. In the business and chamber world, the Dale Carnegie principle is, if we're going to disagree, let's disagree agreeably. I hope we bring a little bit of that tone to this office and to Town Square, Legacy Square. If we need to communicate, let's communicate through the proper channels. As we are sitting here recording on Friday, May 23rd, I do not have my city-issued email address yet, so I can't even tell our audience how to get a hold of me via email, but call, email, talk to me, talk to us in person at City Hall. We would really appreciate that. We will get my contact information out ASAP. I think that's enough for now about what we're trying to accomplish with the Square Deal podcast. It's time to get to know you a little better, because you are a city employee, and I don't know a whole lot about you, Xander. So where are you from? What is your background? And then move from there into how you arrived at Dickinson State University.
Born and raised in the small adjacent town, Gillette, Wyoming. Bigger from Wyoming, but then you compare it to some other places. Smaller. I always say it's somewhere between Dickinson and Bismarck in terms of size. Very similar community feel to Dickinson, though. That's probably why I felt so comfortable here. I've been here since the fall of 2021. I actually transferred here from Black Hills State University. I always feel weird telling that story because I never actually did a full 2 weeks of classes at Black Hills State. I originally went there to play football and then didn't end up working out. I'm not going to get into that full story on that, but then I had some people that I played high school football against, high school track against, that I knew were up here. So I put my name in the portal, and then I think it was like the second week of classes. I was dropped out on Wednesday, enrolled into DSU1 by Friday, and I was here Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
My whole family drove me up. So my family technically dropped me off at college twice.
Wow. In the same month.
Yeah, within the same month. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I came up here. I started off as a physical education major.
Sure.
Liked it. I think what kind of drew I liked the idea of it because I had role models. Like one of my biggest role models in life was my high school football coach, Andrew Rose.
Yeah.
He was always just someone I knew. Even now, I still shoot him a text or shoot him a call about some general life advice. Just kind of catch up with him. He was a PE teacher.
Sure.
Teachers. It was funny. Someone at the comedy night at Fat Fish was talking about it last night. Teachers are very underappreciated for the amount that they do. I think.
Amen.
Along with Coach Rose, there's a million teachers that I could thank for getting me to where I am today. Not only teaching me in the classroom, but kind of teaching me about life. And I feel like they're underpaid for how much they do for the youth of everywhere. So that was kind of the role I wanted to step in, and then I was going through it, and I did an observation at Jefferson Elementary. They were in a bowling unit in the PE class, and I watched a kid hit another kid with a bowling pin in the head.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of in that moment, I was like, is this how I want to spend the next 40 years of my life? So I kind of took that step back, and I was kind of looking at it, and I was like, sports management is kind of that, being around sports is really what I wanted to do, whether it's coaching, marketing, doing whatever around sports. So I kind of switched into that sports management. I did a short internship with the sports information director this last semester. I was doing it with them, and I was just kind of planning on working with them at the Heritage Foundation. That's where I worked during the school year, just an on-campus job, working with Give Day, Yule Time, different events. Basically what I'm doing now, marketing and event coordinating for the foundation. Then I was just kind of looking through what the city had, because I've worked for the city the past 3 years, or past 2 summers before this one.
Yeah.
I was over in the water department mowing grass, hanging out with Lee Magstad.
Yes.
That's my guy if he's watching, which I think he is.
He needs to be.
Lee Magstad's my guy. I was looking at it, and I saw this one for the marketing and events, and I was like, it was like the day before it closed, so it was kind of weird how I found it. Yeah. Threw my name in there, and then I was back in Gillette for I believe it was Easter break when I was back in Gillette, and I was driving back. I was in the middle of BFE, South Dakota, and I get the call from Lane in HR, and she's like, hey, do you want to come interview for this? I sat down, I did it, and then I think the next day they told me I could start, I think 2 days after I got the job.
Well, I'm grateful you're here, and with your passion and your gifts that you bring. I have a ton of events experience.
Yeah.
Little less in marketing. I think I can, with help, craft the message, but I need your help getting it on all the platforms that people our age and younger are using. Let's back up a little bit. Dickinson is a small town. I grew up in Dickinson, North Dakota. Any guesses where I went to elementary school?
I don't know.
Jefferson Elementary.
Did you go to Jefferson?
I went to Jefferson. I didn't hit anyone with a bowling pin.
Yeah,
okay, but I went to Jefferson Elementary. I still believe all the things that you said about the teaching profession, and I went into teaching and I gave that my all for 12 years, and then it was on to a different challenge. Is enough of my long story short, but I loved what you had to say about here. You've talked quite a bit. You've talked at least a little bit about feeling good about the move that you made 2 weeks into college to come to Dickinson. What do you like most about DSU's campus and about our community? So
I obviously came here to play football. That was my dream growing up. From like 4th grade, I wanted to play college football. Obviously, then it was University of Wyoming or LSU. Those were the two. For some reason, those were where I wanted to go.
Sure.
But then I think it was pretty early into high school I realized this is an attainable shot. University of Wyoming, LSU aren't as realistic. Yeah. But then I started getting the offers from the smaller schools. But so DSU came here, not thinking much of it. I'm like, I'm gonna go play football, get a degree, and probably. Yeah. Obviously, when like my first day, I'm like, I'm just going to end up back in Wyoming and being a PE teacher.
Sure.
But then very quickly, I learned that there's so much more to being a football player or just being a student at DSU. I quickly got involved at the Heritage Foundation. That led to meeting people with Give Day. If you don't know what Give Day is, it's the foundation's way of raising an X amount of money in 24 hours for student scholarships. The last 2 give days I've been a part of those. I think just over $200,000 I've had my help.
Wow.
I've had help in raising for student scholarships.
Yeah.
But I quickly became so much more, and I didn't even realize it until when I got hurt this past season. I was at work, sitting in the chair, crutches, knee locked out, and acting president, executive director Ty Orton came in, and he was just kind of talking to me. He's like, well, where's your head at? And I was like, well, I'm bummed. I'm probably going to miss this whole season.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, are you more than just a football player? And that kind of hit me in like a soft spot, and that made me realize that I have this platform, you can say, to where I can be more than just a football player. I can get involved in the community. I can make all these connections. So I've said it before. I never would have thought 6 years ago. I didn't think Dickinson, North Dakota was a real place. I didn't know it existed.
Right.
And I came here, and I've made so many connections with teammates, classmates, professors, coaches, community members that you can't put a price tag on that. Like, I'm going to college, I'm getting this degree, but I'm getting so much more.
You're really going with your story in places I was hoping you would go, but I happen to know if you play for Pete Stanton, you are not just an athlete or a jock, you are a community member, and he guides all of your players in that direction. I think that's awesome. You've given us a little bit of your marketing and media background already, but one thing I do know about you is you've done this type of talk show platform on what DSU would call Hawk Talk.
Yeah, I love
Please
Hawk Talk.
tell me how you get lined up with Hawk Talk. How did that connection get made?
Hawk Talk started. I was in my second week working at the foundation. I just gotten this job. It was right around homecoming 2 years ago. I was sitting there working on some marketing stuff for, I believe it was our alumni honors luncheon that we were doing. We do it every year. And Kira Mathern, who was my supervisor boss at the foundation, came up to me and she's like, how comfortable are you in front of a camera? And I was thinking she wanted me to make a TikTok or something. I was like, oh, I can be in front of a camera. It's not that hard. Yeah. And she's like, well, we do this thing called Hawk Talk. Yeah. I think you'd be great for it. I had already kind of known what it was being here in Coulter Hickok. I always say is the one of the founding fathers or the Mount Rushmore of Hawk Talk. I think Coulter is on there.
Have they built that yet?
I think they should. Yeah. I think they should wait till I'm done. I have one more year, and I think I have a spot on it. I think it's me, Nate Easton, Coulter Hickok. Okay. And I'm blanking on the other guy's name. That's going to make me sound so bad. The guy that's the two founding fathers.
Let's leave room for someone to earn that spot, right?
Yeah, maybe Cheyenne Jacobs. Maybe Cheyenne Jacobs. Okay. But she said I'd be really good on it, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And at the time, it was Dallas Mitchell, Cass Venner, and I believe Jacob Marley were all on there. And they've all gone on. Jacob he ended up doing an internship at the Capitol building in Washington. Yeah. Dallas is now one of the coaches of the softball team. Cash has finished up her senior year. So some pretty well-known people on campus. I think Jacob was the student body president at the time. So I just kind of threw my hat in there. I sat in. My first interview was with Trevor Kuntz. Okay. Sat in, asked him because he was, I believe, our Young Hawk Award winner that year. It's an award the foundation gives to an alumni under the age of 49 that I've gone on and done great things in the community, whether it's here or wherever they go. And you probably know Trevor. A lot of people know Trevor Kuntz in this community. Yep. Great guy. You see him out, he's always got just the best outfits on. Like I've seen him at some events. And I'm like,
he's hip.
He's cool, young, and hip. And I always see Trevor, and I'm like, man, I'm there, and something like this is nice for me.
Look what I wore today.
This is nice for me. Never been a jeans guy. Okay. Always sweatpants and shorts. These are golf pants. These are not dress pants. And then a Blue Hawk quarter zip that Coach Gibson gave me. Yeah. But he's always got like a 3-piece suit on at like the Spur with like a feather in the hat. Sure. And I'm like, dude, you look good. You look great. Yeah. But so then it just kind of launched into that. It's a running joke that I'm the senior Hawk Talk host because I joined one semester before Cheyenne Jacobs, and then now me and her are the longest tenured hosts on there. Sure. But I do have more experience than her, so I always joke that I'm the senior Hawk Talk host. But I've gotten to hear so many fascinating stories, interview some great people. Because while it is exclusively supposed to be DSU, what's in and around DSU, but the people I've gotten to meet, the stories I've gotten to hear, our awesome coach. I had Coach Bijou on a couple years ago. He told me some story. He
That's
actually
great.
like leaked his address in the first like 30 seconds he was on.
He doxed himself.
Yeah, he doxed himself. I'm like, hey, just like, yeah, I'll intro everybody in. Welcome back to Hawk Talk. And I'll kick it to you. You look into this camera and introduce yourself. And he's like, oh, Coach Hank Bijou, longtime resident of 6th Avenue. I was like, okay, that was a first. But there's so many memories that come from it. The producers, Ron and Trace, love those two. They're great guys. I've gotten so close with them. And then, obviously, you've seen it. I made a joke to you. I'm like, I think you're the only person outside of my mom that watches it.
Yeah,
but
I think a modest viewership. But your mother watches, so do I. That's at least two. Yeah,
that's two. That's
a
all
few
I
on
need.
campus. Among the people you've interviewed, one I saw recently was with Samantha Ose.
Yeah.
Here's a little trivia. I was Trinity's varsity girls basketball coach back when the Hettinger Scranton Nighthawks were at their peak of their powers.
Yeah.
In my final year coaching Trinity, we were the underdogs, and we had a heck of a battle. But the Nighthawks beat us 42-36 in a game that we were trying to slow down. It was 14-14 at the half, and I had a grin ear to ear on my face. She is an awesome person, doing great things, but I enjoyed your conversation. I've only got one more question for you, then you get to flip the script on me. What are you most excited for this summer? And your answer could be things related to the city of Dickinson or beyond. What do you hope will be a highlight of your summer?
I just think all these different, like, I've only had this job for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and just the connections I've made so far, or how comfortable I am with people, getting to work with Dustin Dossinger, getting to work with yourself, the guys over at Gielberg. Just this short time that I've done this job, and I kind of got thrown into it with Michaela leaving on my second day.
Yeah, that's right.
I've kind of been the only person in the marketing department, so I always joke I'm just kind of up there by myself.
You direct report to me, but I haven't been in yet. So have you been doing any work around here? I've seen some evidence.
I've been sending some emails, posting on Facebook.
I've been given this thick binder to read.
Yeah, I got the thick binder.
Okay.
But mine's probably not as thick as yours. I bet you have a little bit more information in your binder than myself.
It's just a light read here across Memorial Day.
Yeah, exactly. But just kind of been hanging out. The connections I've made are awesome. I'm super excited to get to see these concerts up close and in person, and hopefully get to meet some of these artists. Scotty McCreery is someone whose music I really enjoy. There you go. So when I heard about that one, I was very excited for that. Yeah. But I think just the experience of doing this whole marketing thing, I wanted to be sports marketing, then I got this job, and I love it so far. I think at the end of the day, it's a resume builder. Yeah. I would love to see where this can take me. Sure. But just trying to be a sponge, learn as much as I can. I think there's this quote, Larry Fitzgerald said it. He said, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. Yeah. So getting to work with you, with Dustin, the guys at Gielberg, just kind of learn the ins and outs of this. Yeah. Because I'm not good with the promotions. I'm better with the marketing. So getting to learn from you, kind of going back and forth on that, I think we can both learn from each other, and I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Glad to hear you say that. Let's tie in sports and music a little more. That Scotty McCreery concert date is July 31st. Yep. I am choosing to be away from my son's state baseball tournament because I need to now be at Scotty McCreery. We have a team of coaches. That team is going to be just fine, but that's how it works in my family. Now I'm going to be at Scotty McCreery on that day. There will be many more opportunities for the community to get to know you and ask you all kinds of questions, 100%. But let's flip the script. You get to, this could be a giant career risk on my part, but you get to ask me whatever you want for about 10 minutes. Fire away.
Oh, I rattled, I don't know, about 20 questions on here. I don't know if we'll get to all of them. I'll probably start with some of my favorite ones.
You got to pick your best 5 to start with.
My best 5. I think the first one I'm going to start with, I don't know how online you are. Me and my roommate like to say chronically online. Yeah, okay. That's how we describe ourselves. This has been a conversation amongst, probably the past couple weeks amongst the football team. Okay. Who would win in a fight? 100 people. Yeah. 100 men, just it could be random people, you could pick the people, or one gorilla.
Yeah, that's been a hot online topic. I don't know that I have a rationale behind it. I'm just going with the human beings that they're going to put their heads together and figure it out. I kind of don't know how exactly. Yeah. I'm going to kick it back to you. How do you see that playing out?
The way we've kind of talked about it, like, bare minimum, just face value, I think the 100 people win because we have the ability to strategize. Yeah. where we're not much smarter than the gorilla.
Yeah.
It's probably closer than most people would say, but I do think we would win. I genuinely think the first 15 people might not be making it out if you just go in a straight line. But there's a million different factors. Location, if we're allowed to pick the people, if it's 100 random people, then that kind of is where it gets. Because I think I saw someone break it down. If you get like 10 Navy SEALs, 10 NFL linebackers, 10 this, 10 that, 10 that, it's obviously going to win. I just think the ability to communicate and strategize is what gives the 100 people the edge on that.
I think so too. And so man versus beast, but you do need a few, maybe the entire group, to be willing to be sacrificial lambs.
Because if
it
has to be like one at a time, like one-on-one,
like if it's a war to save the human race,
the first 25 to 30% are cooked. Okay. They're not, unfortunately, they're not making out of that. I think that's where we're going to kind of hit our stride, is around that 26th or 27th person. Because that gorilla is going to get worn out. At some point, the gorilla will get worn out, and that's where we step in, because we have 100 times maybe not 100 times the gas tank, but we have our gas tanks combined as 100 people are going to be better than.
I'm not sure this is the content that the city has been begging for from me, but here it is. That has been a hot topic for a month. You got my short answer to that question. What's question number 2?
We'll go. I believe I kind of talked about I have my idol, the people I look up to.
Yeah.
Who is your idol? Could be someone famous that you look up to, or just someone in your life that you know that you strive to be like every day. I just want to know.
Yeah, I almost certainly won't go the celebrity route. It was the teachers and coaches. Couple names, Coach Dave Michelson, and I actually never played a sport that he coached, but a social studies teacher, close-up advisor, Dickinson High School, driver's ed, many other things. They have 4 children in their family that are roughly the same age as my siblings, but a role model in the teacher realm. He is a close-up Hall of Famer. Civics educator. Okay. Dean Winchesky was my basketball coach. Dean Winchesky was a 27-year-old varsity head coach at Dickinson High when he took over. We were a rebuilding project. We went 2-19 my junior year. We went a more respectable 9-12 the year after. And then my group graduated, and he won the state championship with the group right behind them. And there would be many others as well. And but teachers and coaches. For the most part, for the reasons that you talked about earlier.
I feel you on that rebuilding part. In high school, 4 years I won 3 games in football. I had my first 2 years 21 game losing streak. We had lost my 8th grade year. That team lost in the playoffs, and then we did not win again until I believe the second game of my junior year.
So and that with my episode 1 with the DSU students I talked to there, we talked about the reality. If you are in athletics, you are not guaranteed a confetti and a Gatorade bath and cutting down the nets and raising a banner. And far from it. You might have the opposite experience, but you learn from that too. Here's a little more community history for you. I played Legion baseball. My coach was Kelly Armstrong. Do you know who Kelly Armstrong is?
The name sounds familiar. I can't put a face to it.
He is the governor of the state of North Dakota
right
now.
Okay.
Governor Kelly Armstrong was my
sense,
Legion baseball coach back in the day for the Dickinson Rough Riders.
It's very different coming to a place to play football like Dickinson, where 10 straight conference championship home playoff games. Compared to in high school when I didn't win a game till, like I said, my junior year. And fun fact, we played Laramie High School, the Plainsmen. One of the seasonals for the Buildings and Grounds, Adrian Calderon, was on that Laramie football team. So I always, if he's watching this, I just want to make sure that he knows my first high school win was against him.
Well, it's going to be your job with me to help make sure people watch this, or at least know where to click.
This will be posted everywhere.
You get at least 3 more. Question number 3, go ahead.
Kind of in that same realm, is there a saying or a quote that when you're kind of going through a hard time, or when things maybe aren't going your way, that you kind of you can fall back on, kind of tell yourself that you can get through?
I bet I'll think. I love quotes. The first one that comes to mind maybe isn't the perfect answer to your question, but when I hear work smarter, not harder, I understand the sentiment, but I like to go to Teddy Roosevelt. I have had the most wonderful 6 months, and I have basically worked a job and a half or two jobs. But Teddy Roosevelt said, one of life's great joys is in finding work worth doing.
Yeah.
And that has been my reality for 6 months or much longer than that. Here's another quote along the same vein that I like, because I've lived the opposite of this quote, but it's, are you a busy person or are your days full? Yeah. And can you figure out the difference in the two? Most of my 20s into my 30s, I just said yes to everything. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to do a million things, half of them poorly.
Yeah.
My days are full now because finally at age 41, I think I have right-sized the obligations in my own calendar. I'm doing what I want to do. Okay, family, a big part of that as well. But busy person versus are your days full? Those are the things that keep me moving forward in the tough. That's a Rocky quote. One of the Rocky Balboa movies is sometimes it's getting hit and keeping moving forward. Okay, I believe in those things.
Yeah, get up and keep moving forward. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit. Keep moving forward.
That's the quote.
Big Rocky guy. Like, also kind of reminds me, I think it was maybe Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. It was one of those two, but he always said, find lazy people to do your jobs because they will find an easier way to do it. Yeah. Which is kind of taking a shot at people, but in a way it's...
But here's the other side
some
of
people
that.
just have a way
here's
of
the other
finding
side
the
of that
easiest
coin.
way to do it.
I believe in this reality. If you want something to get done, ask a busy person to do it.
Yeah.
The go-getter.
Yeah.
They'll figure out how to make the next thing happen. Yep.
100%.
So, yep.
All right, we'll go. If you could install a statue in the middle of Dickinson, who or what would it be?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I believe every human being can be wonderful and great, but is also flawed at the same time. You got to be careful about idolizing any local. Teddy Roosevelt holds up well as a historical character, so that might be one answer. I don't know. You put up a statue, you put it at risk of being vandalized or having pigeons come along or graffiti, right? So I don't want to do that to anyone here, but I think probably one of the most appropriate things that ever happened in town is to have the football stadium renovated and renamed the Henry Bijou Activity Center. I mean, he, of anyone, earned that right. And so I, like a politician, I'm dodging your statue question for good reason, but I think you got to be very careful about naming something. But one time that was done well in Dickinson was the Henry Bijou Activity Center. Yeah,
I've gotten to have some conversations and hang around Coach Bijou. Just an electric personality, even for how aged and experienced he is. He knows how to have a good time. He's always so upbeat. I've never seen him. My favorite was I was in the weight room lifting one time over winter break, and he came in a old DSU football shirt and like the baggiest, like almost mid-shin Bowman County Bulldog shorts.
Sure.
Came in, did like 2 sets of bicep curls and left. Yeah. And he was like, "That's all I got." I was like, "No, Coach. Stay being you."
Small town, you want to catch Henry Bijou, you go to the post office between 10 and 10:30 every morning, and he will be checking his P.O. box.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember the first thing he ever told me, I told him I was from Wyoming, and he kind of squeezed my arm a little bit. He's like, "They don't make Wyoming guys like they used to." And I couldn't tell if he was throwing a shot at me or throwing a shot at old Wyoming guys that he knows.
Gentle jab.
Yeah, one of those things. But it's me and him. Yeah. We have a great relationship. I like to think he's someone that, even on my worst days, if he shoved to the foundation, I couldn't help but have a smile on my face when he walked in to steal a cup of coffee and leave. He did that. I think he would go post office foundation for a cup of coffee that had on a mug that had his face on it from Give Day, and then he would leave.
He's 80 now. He's got that routine. I'm confident you and I are going to do this again at some point. You get 2 more questions.
2 more questions.
Make them good.
Okay. Let's see. What do I got? What's your dream Legacy Square performance?
Well, we kind of went like the dream that's never going to happen would be the Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen caliber. I'm a little bit country. Yeah. I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Okay.
And and again, totally unrealistic, but George Strait.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. I don't know that I have a name for you, and again, politician dodging an answer, but what are like my musical influences? I like prime 80s and 90s country, George Strait, and from the rock era at the same time, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah.
Tom Petty is deceased now, but my former baseball coach, Pete Dobitz, any road trip, we would have listened to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So it might be more along the tribute band of your favorite music from the era. I think that could be very good and complementary to the other names, the Scotty McCreery's that we bring in. So I think, how do we round out a great schedule? That's how I'm choosing to answer that question. But the name with the tribute band of the very popular band of its era and its time.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great. You're good. I'm trying to get you, but you're good.
You haven't quite pinned me down yet.
I'm gonna get you one of these things. Last question.
Yep.
We'll make it kind of. What's your why? What gets you up every day? We talk about this in football every day.
Yeah.
What gets you out of bed in the morning? What gets you through the hard times?
Yeah.
What is your why?
On this earth, my family, number one, happily married for 13 years. We have 3 wonderful children. There's that. I believe in a higher power. You made reference to a higher power there as well. So we have a pew that we are in every Sunday, and that's, I start right there. What's my why for Dickinson? I grew up in Dickinson, North Dakota in the late 90s, and then I'm a high school graduate of 2002 in an era where the vast majority of my high school classmates, myself included, would have said, I'm graduating high school and I'm getting the heck out of here and I might never come back, okay? Like the grass is greener somewhere else, okay? I went to North Dakota State. I wanted to come back. I did. I am dedicating my life to making the grass greener right here. That's what I care about. That is my why for Dickinson.
I like that. That's a great
Should we end on that note?
I think that's a perfect one to end on. Yeah,
I think we hope. I mean, we are 2 episodes in to the Square Deal podcast. We're going to do more of this with leaders, legends, and lifestyle in Dickinson, North Dakota. Lots of city staff, many others that we will be bringing in. If you like what you're seeing, please interact with us on social media, like, comment, share. Let's make sure lots of people are seeing this. Let's build something here. I'm really look forward to working on that project and many others with you. Xander Beeson, great to meet you today.
Great to meet you too, Carter.
And on the Square Deal, we'll see you next time.
See ya.